Good morning and welcome to the Real P&L Trading Show, where every week I show my real accounts, each one tied to a specific trading system, so you can easily see how each strategy performs in real time. I answer all your questions live, and I trade my safe wheel system here right in front of you on the stream so you can actually learn it by watching me do it. Now, real quick, let me clarify something because I know we have a lot of new people joining every week. So when you hear me talking about the safe wheel, the AMP 122, the PL5, or the earnings edge, here's exactly what they mean and how they all fit together. So just so you know, AMP, that stands for all market profits, which is the foundation of everything that I teach. Now, the safe wheel, this is for anyone who wants to understand what the AMP style strategy is in the simplest possible form. It shows you the core principles, how to be systematic, hedged, and protect your capital. The AMP 11122 book, as you can see here behind me, this teaches the actual framework behind all my systems. Always be hedged, always be non-directional, always be rules-based. And this is the blueprint everything is built on, the all market profits framework. The PL5 and the PL5 Pro, this is the professional, fully developed version of that framework. It's the advanced rules-based system for traders with meaningful capital who want consistent risk-adjusted returns and lower drawdowns. And then finally, we have the earnings edge. I have the earnings edge strategy. It follows the AMP framework, just applied in a faster earnings focused way that uses discounted options for controlled leverage. So to put it all together, the safe wheel teaches the concept. The AMP All Markets Trading Profits book gives you the all market profits framework. The PL5 is the professional system built on that framework, and the earnings edge applies those principles to earnings trades. And since we're here, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, and I appreciate that you're here. So let's go ahead and get started now. So the first thing I want to look at is the account that I use and that I trade. You can see right here, let me get into the correct account. I want to get into my account that is the earnings edge, because I'm going to talk about the earnings edge now. I always like to go to the account statements here. You can see all the trades that I've made. You know, I've traded AMAT more than once, right? So this is all the stocks that I've traded using the earnings edge this year, 2025. And you can see the end result here of the overall totals. Now, what I like to do is I'll put it together in a spreadsheet, and let's talk about what happened with the earnings edge last week. So because I go through this every week, we'll talk about what happened last week. So last week, I did not trade, nothing fit through the filters on the earnings edge. So I did not make any trades. The last trade I made was NVIDIA. I made $1,390. And you can see here, let me make sure that my P&L, what I like to do is go. So I'll go here, I'll show you my P&L. It's 26, here's my net liquidation right here, 26,727. So I'm gonna make sure that that's 26,727 is here, yeah, okay. So you can see here what my record is since I did the 3.0 update of 22 wins, 2 losses, 1 break even, 88% win rate. My average win is 1,083, average loss is 874. And you can see how the earnings edge has done over time. In 2022, it did 63%, the market was down 20. In 2023, it did 17%, the market was up 24. In 2024, it underperformed, it did minus 36%, and the market was up 23. Because of this minus here, I made a tweak to the system. The tweak worked out pretty well because you can see this year, it started with $6,053. And now it's worth 26,727. I'm up 341%. And the market, well, let's see what the market's up. Let me get the latest. SPY is trading at 665.22. 665.22, a little bit lower than last week. So the market is up 13.62% year to date. So you can see the overall totals. Since I started trading this in 2022, 434%, the market's up 40%. Okay, so that's what's going on with the earnings edge. Basically not a lot because nothing fit through the filters and I did not trade it last week. All right, so let's take a look at my next system that I trade, which is the PL5 Pro. And again, this is what I use. This is where I have a majority of my liquid net worth, not all just in this account, but in this system. I have other accounts that I run this system in also. So let's take a look at the account balance or the net liquidation. So I'm going to go to that specific account, get 452, 285. Let's just say 452, 165. 452, 165. 2, 165. Okay, so started this on June 1st, 2025 when I upgraded to the 3.0 system. And since then, I'm up 11.46%, and the market's up 13.18. So just barely underperforming there, but the drawdowns with this system are about half. Um, Based on back test and forward test, the drawdowns are about half. So on a risk adjusted basis, outperforming pretty well, but overall, just about up with the market. It's pretty good when this system in an up market, this system keeps up with the market sometimes it doesn't. But then when the market goes sideways or it goes where it has a big crash or it has a market, where the market draws down just a little bit here and there, it really outperforms. So it's just about what the system, and obviously since June 1st of 2025, the markets went up pretty good, 13.18. This one's doing well too. All right, and then we have the PL5 Pro. I'm sorry, that was the PL5 Pro 3.0. Let's talk about the PL5. So with this account, I started, this is a variant of the PL5 Pro, and it's a variant that's really highly tied to the S&P 500. And I trade this, I started with a $30,000 account, and I started on July 16th, 2024. And it's in my this particular account is in my Interactive Brokers account because I'm using span margin, I'm using ES to trade this, because you can trade the PL5 Pro or the PL5 system with around $30,000, $35,000 if you wanted to trade it. If you did, you'd want to use span margin, and you would want to use /ES rather than SPX. And when you do that, trading /ES with Schwab is super expensive. And so I trade this in Interactive Brokers. Here's my Interactive Brokers account. I can't show you the whole screen because it will show my account number. So you can see it here. My account balance is 35,713. 35,713. 35,713. Okay, so you can see how this system's been doing since July 16th, 2024. Started with $30,000. And by the end of 2024, it was up 10.2%. The market was up 3.94. So far this year, I'm up 8.01%. The market's up 13.62 since this January 1st, 2025. And you can see overall totals, the system's up 19%, market's up 18. And on a risk adjusted basis, they'll draw down together. This system is highly tied to the S&P 500, but it is designed to outperform. And you can see it is slightly outperforming since July 16th, 2024. So this is for people that have less than $125,000. This is one variant that you could use, and it's one that I'm using. So that's the PL5 system. All right, now next I'm going to get into the safe wheel. So let's look at first the account value. So let me move this out of the way so I can get the account value. So the account is this one right here. And let me go here. You can see what my position I'm using, Intel. But let's take a look at the net lick. Net lick 59.52. 59.52. So I'll put that in there. It's up just a little bit from last week. And you can see what I've done 2022. So I started trading the safe wheel live in front of you, right in front of you. You can go through all the archives back in January of 2022. And in 2022, it did 21.7%. The market was down around 19. In 2023, it did 5.39. The market was up 24, so it underperformed there. And then in 2024, minus 14, the market was up 23, so underperformed pretty significantly in 2024. Now we're looking at 2025, where the market wherein I'm up 8.6 and the market's up 13.4. Overall, since 2022, this system's up 19% and the market's up around 40. But on a risk adjusted basis, because this system drawdowns about half, approximately half as much as the S&P, so you have less risk, you can see the risk adjusted basis, I'm at 38% versus 40% on a risk adjusted basis. So about even with the S&P on a risk adjusted basis. But again, remember, this system is for anyone who wants to understand what the all market profit style strategy is in the simplest possible form. So that's what the goal of this system, the Safe Wheel, is. So I'm going to go ahead now and I'm actually going to trade it because I trade it every week. The system's set up to just trade once a week. So I'm trading Intel. And the first thing I want to do is I've got my hedges. I got a hedge here, my put hedge for my downside hedge, and I have my upside hedge. My upside hedge lives here to protect my this hedge. This is like a hedge for the hedge, right? This long call right here. But the first thing I want to do is take a look at, I have 3 questions to answer with this hedge. Number 1, do I own 200 shares and do I need to use this hedge and cash it out? Well, the answer is no, because I don't own 200 shares. So there's no possibility of cashing this out. Number 2, is this strike, this $29 strike, within 70% of the actual price of the underlying? Because I need my hedge to be close enough. So the question is it close enough? Well, the only way to know that is to take the 29 and divide that by the 35, let's just say 0.45, and it's 81%, so it's close, definitely close enough. Okay, so that's number 2 question. It passes that. And number 3, how many days does it have left? If it's under 100 days left in this position, it's depreciating too fast and I need to move it, roll it out. So the answers to the questions, all 3 questions, are no, which means I don't do anything with this. I just leave it. It's intact. It's doing its job. Next question here, do I have this $41 call? I bought this thing for $4. I usually spend somewhere between $4 and $6 on this long call every week. And I go in on Fridays. This is the only trade that I don't make in front of you. I go in on Fridays and I spend $5 on a long call. Okay, so this long call is going to be in the same expiration cycle that ends this Friday coming up. Today is Monday. Okay, so I bought that. And that's fine. You know, that's doing great. So my hedges are good. Now that my hedges are in place, I run the traditional wheel at this point. So what am I doing? Well, looks like I own 100 shares and I got in at a price of $36. So I don't want to sell. Okay, so I know that I want to write a covered call. I want to sell a covered call. That's part of the wheel. This is a wheel part because I own shares. I'm not selling a put or anything because I own shares. I'm looking to sell a covered call. And I want to sell it at least at the 36 strike or higher. I don't want to sell it at a strike below that because then I'll lose money on the shares. And I don't want to lose money on the shares. So my goal is to sell a call today at the 36 strike or higher. And I have a rule that I want to get at least, let's say 35 or 36 cents based on the price of my underlying. I want to get that amount. So let's take a look at what I can do here. So I'm going to go into the nearest expiration cycle, which is coming out this Friday. I'm going to be looking at calls and I'm going to be looking to try to sell above 36 and I want to get at least 36 cents. Here I can get 40, right here, 29 and 30. I can't get 36 cents at the 37 strike. I'm not going to sell that one. I can get above 36 cents at the 36 and a half strike. So I could sell this one, definitely. But I always like to figure out where I can sell it and then go one back. So I'm actually going to sell the 36 strike call. I'm going to sell one of these. And the pricing, and it's, why am I doing one? Because if I have between $5,000 and $10,000, I do one wheel strategy, one contract with a wheel strategy, and I do 3 put hedges. If I have between $10,000 and $15,000, I'll do 2 contracts with whale strategy, and I'll do 6 put hedges. If I have $15,000 to $20,000, I'll do three contracts with the whale strategy and 9 put hedges. Okay, so you can see how I have this system sized out. I have between $5,000 and $10,000, so I'm going to sell this one. Looks like it went down since I got in here. Let's see, 61. Maybe I can get 61. Collect $61. Sell a covered call. Okay, it did fill. So I collected another $61. ABC, always be collecting. That's the thing about this safe wheel, is you're always collecting premium every week, no matter what. You're never stuck in a position and your capital is not locked up. Okay, so that's simple. That's all I need to do today is sell that covered call. And now I'll come back next week. This call will expire, and we'll see if I get called away from my shares or if I don't. And then we'll make the decisions next Monday. I really don't even look at this account until Monday mornings. So I come in here not really knowing, what's going to happen, because I like to build systems where I don't have to pay much attention, and they're just systematic and automatic. All right, so let me see if there's any questions or comments. Avery, who is my daughter and works with me, so you probably have seen her if you've been in the community, says hit that like button. Yeah, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. One thing that you're seeing here is you're seeing my net liquidation of systems, and each system that I have is the only system I'm trading in that account. So I'm only trading the safe wheel in this account. I'm only trading the earnings edge in that account. I'm only trading the PL5 Pro in that specific account. So you can see in the actual net liquidation and the actual results of the systems. Will says my audio is good. Yeah, I typically ask if my tech is working okay. I appreciate that, Will. Thank you for letting me know. And Avery says, and the notification bell. Jace Madhad, thank you so much for providing this opportunity and making impact with options traders community. You're welcome. I appreciate it. Thanks for the nice comment. Grow Money with Mike, I'm new. Can someone please help me with how to get access to all of the available training? Yes, so easily you can get into the link in the description of this video or any video that I've made in the last 3 or 4 months. And you can get in there, and I would hit that top link where you could get the safe wheel for free. I'm giving that away for a limited time. That would be the best way to get involved in the community, would be actually get the safe wheel with the flow chart and everything. You can get that for free if you hit that link in the description of this video and pretty much any video that I've made in the recent past. Will says, enjoy your Thanksgiving. Thanks, Will. Enjoy yours. Will says, I am most thankful for your EE profits. I'm assuming you mean you have EE profits also, but I appreciate that. Will says, if someone turns 5,000 into 30,000 using the EE, what strategy of yours would you recommend them switching to for less volatility? Or should they wait till 100K? I would probably wait till I got to about 40K. Then I would start trading the PL5 Pro system. I like the PL5 Pro system with 35,000. And then I would keep that $5,000 there and keep running the EE with it. That's what I would do there. Some guy says EE forever. I appreciate that. Johnny says, hi, Karl. Can you talk a bit about the PL5 Pro strategy based on your back test? What was the largest drawdown and what is the expected return per month? Haha, I was just, we just ran that. So we just updated our system to the 3.0. And Avery, do you have access to that? I know that I just asked you about that this morning and you said that you had access to it. Let me see if I can get a quick access to it here. I might, maybe what you can do is you can ask this question in the comments of this video, and then I'll have some time to go in and get those numbers and put those and give those to you, because I don't want to be searching through that right now while I'm live. But yeah, for sure, I'll get you that information. And can I explain a bit about the strategy? So Well, I think one way to say it's the professional, fully developed version of the AMP framework. It's the advanced rules-based system for trades with with a lot of capital, like 125,000. Again, you can run it with 35,000 if you like, and if you want consistent risk-adjusted returns with lower drawdowns, that's what it's built for. That's where I have a majority of my personal liquid net worth in that system. And I'll get you those numbers because I want to give you the new 3.0 numbers, the updated numbers, because we've tweaked the system and it just gets better and better. Let's see here. John, can stop loss orders be used? For example, the 3 times credit in case something happens and you can't manage the position yourself. The 3 times credit. Are you referring to the safe wheel or the earnings edge or the premier level 5? That's what I'm not sure. John, if you want to clarify that, that would help me. Metro, hi Carl. If I'm doing a 1 lot on the safe wheel and want to add more lots, do I have to wait when we change to a new stock or can I do it right now? Well, if you understand the system, you can do it whenever you like. Oh, so you're saying, would I add to this Intel position here? I probably would not add to the Intel position until I started over. In other words, right now, while I own shares, I would wait. And if I'm going to get back into Intel, I would be free of shares. And when I went in to sell a put, I would probably, then I would add more to my put hedge and then I would sell more puts. I probably would not do that while I was long shares. Will, I'm experimenting with your safe wheel and using it on IBIT, a Bitcoin ETF. I think it's pretty good. Cool. I haven't ran that. One thing I like, one thing I don't like with the safe wheel and running it on an ETF is that ETFs don't have earnings. And sometimes you get in a position where you're kind of a little bit in no man's land and you need that earnings catalyst to kind of push you out of there. So I like trading the safe wheel with stocks that have earnings myself personally. Grow money with Mike. Already did the safe wheel, looking for the rest. Great. Let's see. John. Hello, Carl. I'm using OptionNet Explorer. I backtested the IPMCC wheel trades using the safe wheel with 226 DTE calls instead of the underlying. The safe whale lost 50% less when the stock dropped 30% or more. Okay, so it sounds like you had some decent results when you were running a certain back test. I always appreciate you guys. If you run back tests, you let me know what happens. I like to know what happens with the back test. Bobby Size says, I'm new here. What is EE? EE is the earnings edge. So I have a system called the earnings edge, and it's basically it follows the AMP framework, but it's just applied in a faster, earnings focused way that uses discounted options for controlled leverage. That's one way I like to explain it. It's another system that I use. Let's see here. Will, I want you to also have one page we can click and see all your products, like a dinner menu, even your books. Yeah, just go to real-pl.com. You should be able to get all that. You should be able to easily get that. Yeah, real-pl.com. That's actually my website. I don't really promote my website too much, but you can see all the products there. Avery says that the information regarding the returns for the PL5 3.0 is in Slack. Okay, I'll have to get access to that, but I don't want to do that live. Will says, Bobby size E equals earnings edge. Nice name. Now Carl will probably say your name. Bobby size. Yeah. Saibon Nu says, where is the safe whale? In the link, in any description of my video, you'll see the top link is where you can get access to the safe wheel, and you can get the whole course for free. Will says you need another O. John Paul, Creamy, what system do you recommend for large accounts, 7 figures? The PL5 Pro. That's what I'm trading. You see, I have what, $450,000, and I'm trading. You can see what I'm doing. When I have $450,000, what am I doing with that? Well, I'm trading the PL5 Pro 3.0 system with it. You know, when I have $5,000 or $10,000, what am I doing with that? Well, I'm trading the safe wheel, right? So you can see kind of how I have money allocated and the confidence and the how much I like each system and for what, how I'm using them. So I would recommend the PL5 Pro if you have 7 figures. And I wouldn't worry about liquidity. I know that's probably the next question coming up. And I know people that are, $50 million accounts trading, these types of systems, this PL5 Pro type system. Since earnings edge seems to have the best risk-adjusted returns, why not trade it with smaller size to match one's risk appetite? Okay, so the earnings edge might have their best risk-adjusted returns this year, but the earnings edge has more risk than the PL5 Pro, much more risk, right? So that's why I have a smaller account for that. But I started the account with $5,000. Now it's up to $26,000. So why not trade it with a smaller size? Well, you see one of my accounts has $450,000 in it. So $26,000 to me is smaller size. So it just depends on what smaller size means to you. But I would not start trading the earnings edge with anything more than $5,000 because you have the possibility of turning it into over $20,000, and then you have a relatively not small account that you're trading the earnings edge with. So I hope that answered your question there. Will's saying where the safe whale is available. Johnny 7591 for the PL5 Pro. Already trade the safe whale and earnings edge successfully, but I'm very interested in the PL5 for my main account. Yeah, I'm going to be doing a webinar on the PL5 Pro and the 5 option sellers edge obstacles coming up sometime in December or January. I haven't put it together yet. So there'll be an opportunity to take a look at that system in detail here coming up shortly. Make sure that you're on my email list. If you're on my email list, and also you can get on the wait list for the PL5 Pro. There's a link in the description for that also. So if you are interested in that, the best thing is to go into the description of this video or one of my other videos, and on there it'll have the PL5 Pro, and then you hit the link and then you can get on the wait list. So then the next time that I get in detail and talk about that system, you can make sure that you get access. Mutual says thank you. You're welcome. Let's see here. Saivon, he's talking to Will. Do I get trade alerts with the Safe Wheel program? Yes. That trade that I just made right now, I wouldn't call it an alert, but I would call it a trade log, because after this, after I'm done here in my live stream, I'm going to put this into a trade log in the community over there. But you could watch this, or you could be here live and you can see what I'm trading. If you want to just follow what I'm doing and learn by following and watching what I'm doing. Will says, good point on the ETFs missing earnings, but I like the wild swings of Bitcoin. I think it plays well with your safe wheel structure. Yeah, there's always, advantages and disadvantages. Yeah, you're always going to get those big swings, so maybe you don't need earnings to make it work. Um, Doomage, I'm not sure how to spell that. Dreaming. When starting the safe wheel, should I be expecting a credit or a debit on my first trade? Well, your first trade is going to be opening up a put hedge, which is going to be a debit, and then you're going to sell a put, which is going to be a credit. But overall, you'll probably end up paying a debit on your first, right when you first get in, when you combine those two trades together. Okay. And Julian, a longer period of time used one for back tests. Okay, I'm assuming you're talking about your back test there. And Will's talking to Sai. Say he runs a safe wheel every Monday live. If you want to follow, click the link to learn more. Your management's very hands off. It's engineered to give you a lot of free time. Absolutely. True. Thank you, Will. Will's been with me from probably day one. I mean, he knows the safe wheel as well as I do. Jay says, how do you get access to all your courses? I currently have access to the safe wheel. Well, there's a link in the description, and I talk about each and every one of the things that I offer. Basically, I offer my safe wheel. I offer my book. I offer the PL5 Pro. We can get on the wait list, and I have the Earnings Edge, where you can get on a kind of a semi wait list for that too. So everything is in the link in the description of this video or other videos that I've made recently in the last 3 or 4 months. Julian says the PL5, for the PL5, the book was very helpful. What trades and rules do you use to manage it? For example, if the market drop keeps moving up, it will lose without adjustments. If it moves down sharply like 2018 or maybe 2020. So you're talking about the actual trade plan. So that's the 3.0 that I just updated. And that is very extremely, it's easy to use, but it's very detailed and it's not something that I really talk about publicly. Bobby says, I have 6-figure account. Do you have a room I can follow? Me personally, what I would do is get on that wait list for the PL5 Pro, because if I have 6 figures, that's what I'm trading my money with. Horse, I will on $100 to $200 stock at 5 cents. Looks too far out of the money. Okay, so I haven't put together I haven't back tested. I recommend a stock around $30, somewhere between $20 and $40 for the safe wheel. And if you want to use a stock around $100, I would have to kind of reset the rules. And I'm sure that 5 cents would not be close enough to the money to make that work, because you're dealing with a stock that's 3 times what it is. So if it's 3 times what it is, maybe just a ballpark idea is you pay 15 cents. Or if you're at $200, that would be 6 times that, so 30 cents, just ballparking it. I haven't back tested using stocks between $100 and $200 though. So I would back test if you're going to want to trade stocks at that high of a price, or you can stick to the ones that are around $30. There's no advantage to any stock because it's $100 versus a stock that's $30. This is all just quantitative. So it's not like, oh, a $100 stock is better than a $30 stock. They're all the same to me. So hopefully that makes sense too. Will, any Black Friday sale, Karl, or something type of promotion? This Friday, Safe Wheels free, but just like every other day. A lot of people have asked me about a Black Friday deal, and I've pretty much decided to not do any Black Friday deals because I feel like the deals that I have are so good that I don't really think I need to discount them, to be honest with you. Well, I mean, for free, right? What's better than that? Will says Karl's giving away the safe wheel for free on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and all the other days. Yeah. Let's see here. Adam, what would you expect the value of 3 puts to reduce by in the next week? Well, it depends on the theta. I'd have to look at that in detail. But the 3 puts that I own are probably not going to be that much. Oh, well, look at, I bought them at $1.76. Now they're worth $1.69. When did I buy these? I bought them last week. So, and Intel really hasn't moved since last week. So there you go. It went from $1.76 to $1.69 in 1 week with Intel not moving very much because I bought this $29 put last week. So that's a good answer right there. Let's see, the cost plus the cost of the weekly call, the revenue. Yeah, so I sold a call last week for $50, I think. So I made like $50, and then this went down by like $6. So there you go. I think that's a really good explanation there. Good timing to ask that question. What was the performance of the safe whale in 2024? You remember it was down. I went over that in the beginning of this live stream. Has anything changed since then with the strategy? No, nothing's changed for the strategy. I haven't updated or changed the strategy. It did not do well in 2024. Now, the safe whale is a little different than the PL5 Pro. Like the PL5 Pro, you're going to kind of get exactly the same results as me or very, very similar. Where the safe whale, you could trade a different underlying than me and have totally different results. So it just depends on, if I was trading something different than whatever I traded last year, I can't remember what it was. Maybe I was trading Intel, for example. If I was trading something different than Intel, I probably would have had different results. So it's hard to tell exactly what would have happened if I did something different. I could have picked a different stock easily. There's many, many stocks you can choose for the safe wheel. Julian, how do we access the PL5? I think you mean the PL5. Is available in private trading room or subscriptions? Yeah, so I talked a little bit about that. You get on the wait list, and I'll probably have a webinar to get into details about the PL5 here in December or January. For further to the long call hedge question, what delta is a long call for the $30 stuff? I don't know. Let's see, what delta is this? So right now I own what do I own here? The $41 call. I know I bought that last week. Let's see. So the 41, it looks like it's a delta, of around 3. So that might give you a good ballpark there. Good question there. Will says, instead of 5 cents, I always buy a call that's 25% of the premium I'm collecting that week. And sometimes I get a put instead if my upward projection is strong. Yeah, so Will, he understands the system so well that he can go off the reservation, which is not something I would recommend early on. But as you go through it and you understand it way better, then yes, you can do things like this, kind of tweak the system for yourself. But that's a really good idea. Shovel says he's first, even though he's probably 23rd. Randy, does your book teach all the strategies? No. So my book is really the framework behind all my systems. So it's not the actual, it does get into pretty good details with the PL5 Pro, but it doesn't actually get into the details of the systems. It talks about the framework. What kind of movement is the underlying is best suited for the safe wheel? Well, we usually pick a stock between $20 and $40, and I like to get a stock around $30. And once it goes beyond $40 and the cycle is complete, I'll get out, or it goes below $20 and the cycle is complete and I'll get out. And so, like, for example, this year, let's see if I have this. I have traded 1, 2, 3, 4. I have traded 4 stocks this year so far. So that gives you an idea of how long the stock stays within the $20 to $40 range. Because when it gets outside of that range, that's when I get into a new underlying. So it's happened 4 times this year. So maybe that gives you an idea to answer that question. Hour-long live stream today. Thanks, Karl. Have a good week. Thanks, Will. I appreciate it. And the free course shows all the filters for the underlying. Absolutely. Yes. There's a filter. There's all the filters that right there for you, easy to use. So you can figure out what underlying to use and use the back tested underlying, the back test that I use and the forward test now to use the system that I use. If you, for example, Horace was asking about a $100 stock. Well, I haven't back tested that. So that's kind of going a little bit off the reservation and I don't have the numbers for that. But so that's, it's better to, when you use the filters that I'm using, it's based on my back test and my forward test. It's not based on $100 to $200 stock and running the wheel off of that. All right. I think that is all for today. One thing I like to say in parting, if the P&L is not real, what else are they trying to conceal? I'll be back next week and I appreciate you guys.